So my next get, I've got an introduction from Michelle, but I think everybody knows Michelle. The little pocket rocket. She is just brilliant. The introduction here, I'm going to read it out anyway, just so you got the benefit, but I'm going to put my little tweak on it. Michelle is well known for her endless enthusiasm, energy, infectious personality, and of course, her unique outlook on what she describes as our magical profession. She's got over 20 years experience of working with advisors such as us. She's actually worked with me and was incredibly pivotal in doing something that needed doing for 10 years in my business and sorting that out for me. So I've actually worked with her myself. I've spoken with Michelle. She speaks all around the world. She's an author, coach, a leading expert in being able to look at people's businesses like ours and just simplify things. And she has this incredible gift for being able to do that with such unbounded enthusiasm and energy. Michelle, over to you. I'm going to let you just crack on because I'm going to give you the most amount of time I can.
She sounds amazing, don't she? If my mum was listening to that, she'd be like, what? What? You do all that? Thank you for inviting me. It's an absolute pleasure. I just need to make sure that I am host, though, so I can actually share my screen. I can share my screen. So I think I'm going to do something that's probably a little bit different than probably what you're expecting me to do. Obviously, you know, I talk about standards and I talk about wow, and I talk about all those amazing things. But actually, I thought, given the fact that I know so many of you and so many of you are clients anyway, I thought I would just take a little different spin on what I wanted to share with you. And it's kind of a bit of a journey that I've been on since really the beginning of COVID, but I'm going to try and pack in as much value as I can. So it's a pleasure to be here. It's nice to see so many friendly faces, and I am going to be in Boston. I'm actually on a waiting list to speak in Boston if any of you are going, and that's because they've got so many people drop out because of COVID, overseas people, that I'm on a bit of a standby list. So I may see you at the meeting, but I'm definitely going to be in Boston, so I can always pick up on these conversations there when we get together. So I've always taken my learning, my development very seriously, not only for my own benefit. And, you know, listening just to the tail end of Charlie there, you know, reading, development, coaching. I did strategic coach for 7 years, 8 years. And I've always taken it really seriously. But obviously, we often struggle with time. And obviously, you know, we take a lot of the things that we learn and we pack them into the stuff that we do for our clients. And, you know, I like to, especially, I suppose, one of the reasons that prompted me, and it was actually David Braithwaite, you know, I started strategic coach around the time that David's talking about me working with him. And I just knew I needed something in my life from a development perspective that was going to serve me and also support me to support my clients better. And I think that's really what learning and development is all about. And, you know, Charlie's just eloquently put that at the end of his presentation. But one of the things that obviously when I left strategic coach, I kind of focused on being a mom and building a business. And I'll be honest, my own learning and development dropped off the radar a little bit just because other things took priority. And I can honestly tell you that whilst I was dipping in and out of things, I realized that, you know, I was coming up with new things and new learnings myself, but it was nothing that was structured. So when COVID hit, obviously traveling stopped, you know, we went remote, and it was probably one of the best times of my life ever. I know there was lots of sadness, but it gave me almost this unlimited amount of time to just focus on myself, my learning and my development. And one of the things that I did, and actually inspired by Charlie, actually, and I saw the Tony Robbins book there on the screen, was I actually did Unleash the Power Within. Now, I know many of you know of Tony Robbins, have done stuff with Tony Robbins. You know, Charlie's thumbing up. You know, Charlie was always on at me. You know, you need to do Date with Destiny. You need to do Unleash the Power Within. And absolutely, he was absolutely right. And I wanted to share some of the real key takeaways that I've taken away from the stuff I've done with Tony Robbins, because I think it's really important. And the reason I'm going to do that is because I wish I'd known these years ago, like years ago. I've got some slides to share, but they're really just prompts and just a bit of visual. But I'm just gonna really dive in. And I think the first one is, you know, this whole thing around when things are great, when business is great, times are great, we are all really, I suppose, let off the hook with showing our true character. And, you know, I remember at the beginning of COVID, I was having calls from, you know, non-clients, actually. My clients generally kind of had got their shit together, but non-clients, I had, you know, business owners, planners phoning me up and saying, you know, my team are working from home and they want, you know, they want payment for electricity and, you know, and actually they're not doing their work that they should be. And I realized that, you know, they're not pulling their weight or they're not a team player. And actually what was happening was that this whole period of crisis was showing true character. And if we had more time, I'm sure if I asked you, you know, what did the whole COVID event actually in lockdown, what character traits did that show in you? What did that show in others? And in flip, you know, I was having support team members calling my office saying, you know, we're all in this global lockdown and my boss is making me work in the office and he's not letting any of us work from home. And I think again, so I think really my point of just this first piece is crisis doesn't create character, it reveals it. And it goes back to my point I've always said with all of our clients all the time, the killer of a business is compromising on somebody's inability to contribute, compromising on someone's inability to do the job. And the project that David and I were just, you know, we did years ago was basically David compromising on behavior that shouldn't have been tolerated in his business, right? And that's just an example. So I really want you to kick us off just by thinking about, you know, what have you learned about people's character and traits during the last 2 years, and what behaviors maybe you putting up with that you really shouldn't be, you know, that need to be nipped in the bud. And that's kind of just my starter for 10 of my big takeaway. They did, you know, the big thing, and I'll dive in quickly, is one of the things that Tony talks about, and this is in no particular order, they're just as I've got them in my mind, is one of the things that he talks about is limiting beliefs. And it's very interesting because when I was doing Unleash the Power Within, and he's talking about limiting beliefs, he's talking about what is that baggage that we're all carrying around with us. You know, that won't happen, that won't work, I'm not successful in this, I've tried that before, you know, people won't respond properly to me, I'm a people pleaser, you know, I'm quite aggressive when I get on one, I don't like confrontation. All of these things are beliefs that you are carrying around with you. Now, we haven't got time to dive into them, but you probably, if you thought about them long enough, would know what they are for you. Now, I want to encourage you to figure out what your limiting beliefs are. What beliefs do you have that are not serving you? And I can tell you the one limiting belief that I had carried around with me for 42 years, pretty much. And for those of you that know me really well, will be like, what on earth is she talking about? But it's true. I always believed that I was too much for people. Now, that may be true for some people, right? That I had too much energy, I had too much enthusiasm, I was too jazz hands. Maybe that is true. But that limiting belief had held me back in business, in my personal relationships, and in my role as a mom. And the second that I realized that that was a limiting belief, I literally just smashed it out the park. I got rid of it. And I almost felt like the shackles had been literally broken, and I was literally enthused. And the reason it was so important was because I wrote on my little book when I was doing UPW, I may be too much, maybe, but you know what? Too much is exactly what people need right now. And they're sad, they're in lockdown. And that's why I did all my Facebook lives, right? So what limiting beliefs are you carrying around with you that are not serving you? And I would ask then, what limiting beliefs are your team members and the people in your lives carrying around with you that don't serve them either? And it's holding them back. It's literally like you've got them in a straitjacket, or they've put themselves in a straitjacket. And there's no rhyme or reason why these limiting beliefs exist, but they do exist. I've got a slide to sort of explain this, just so that I can obviously share these slides with you after. Tony talks about the 6 human needs, you know, and those of you that have done Tony Robbins before absolutely will know what these are. But effectively, we are all carrying these human needs around with us every day. They are different for different relationships. They're different in different circumstances, but we all have them at some point. And we have these 4 core needs, which are certainty, uncertainty, significance, and connection. Tony talks about 4 core needs. And then there are like 2 extra needs. And it's really important that you understand what needs you have in any given moment, what your clients have in any given moment, and what your team, your family, your friends, and your significant others have. Because if you are amiss, you're going to have problems. So let me give you a quick example. And you can research more about this online, but I've got like no time really, so I'm going fast. But basically, like, I love uncertainty. I'm a high quick start for those of you that have done Colby. You know, I'm all over the place. I'm a bit of this and a bit of that, and I'm kind of like a firecracker, right? Now, what I realized was that, you know, if I've got somebody in my team that likes certainty, safety, consistency, and we spend any time together, I thrive on energy, they thrive on consistency, right? We're going to have a miss. It's going to cause friction. It's going to cause challenges. You know, I've been through the dating game a few times, right? Some of my relationships, you know, clearly haven't worked out. But you know what? You know, I dated a guy, right, once. He was full of ego. Like, he was full of it, full of himself. I thought he was a knob, right? Quite frankly, so full of significance and ego. We thought he was unique and special, right? And I thought, this is never going to work, because whilst I love uncertainty and I am who I am, you know, significance isn't important to me, honestly. But we've got to understand what these human needs are of individuals, who we are and who we want, and who we work with, who we live with, who we partner with. We all need to understand their human needs. And I have a conversation with Ruby. You know, she's 11 years old. She's going into senior school, you know, year 7 in September. And we talk about her little friend groups, right? And I've taught Ruby these human needs because I needed to be able to spot them. Right? There's a little boy in her class, Henry, right? He's got a broken family. He just wants to feel important. And I said, Ruby, all he wants is a little belly rub. Yeah, but he's annoying, Mum. I know, but he's going through a tough time and he just wants to feel special. Significance. Now I'm talking to an 11-year-old and this stuff makes sense. So we have to take this on as grown-ups, right? I think, just flicking back to that slide, you know, one of the things I talk about a lot, and this was not necessarily inspired by Tony Robbins, but it's been something that I've been talking about a lot with, you know, with my clients and stuff. And, you know, one of the things that Tony says was, where focus goes, energy flows. And it's true, right? Look at Charlie and the success that Charlie's sharing with you, the success of his growth in his business. That's because Charlie is focused within an inch of his life. Everything Charlie does, it's laser clarity, right? And it's no coincidence that he's done Tony Robbins, he's done With Date with Destiny, he reads all these books. Focus, where focus goes, energy flows. And one of the things I talk to my clients a lot about is the fact that we talk about time. I don't have time. I don't have time. I really want you to re-engineer that language and talk about energy. Not what am I going to spend the time doing? What am I going to spend my energy doing? Because Charlie's got the same amount of hours in a day as I have. How he chooses to use his energy is different to how I choose to use my energy. We still have the same 24 hours of time. So time is irrelevant. It's how we spend our energy, where we direct our energy. What do we do with our effort? Not our time. And these are really fundamental shifts in thinking that I can honestly tell you, I've now embedded all of these things in everything we do as a business, and they've been incredibly valuable to our clients and those around me, right? So time versus energy. Think about the story you tell yourself, right? And it goes back to these limiting beliefs. But, you know, when I was doing UPW, and I've also done business mastery as well, you know, when I was doing UPW, one of the, you know, Tony has all these coaches and stuff, throw these little one-liners in, you know, and he said, you know, are your problems really problems, or are they thoughts? And I remember sitting there thinking, good heavens, like, you know, we all talk about problems and issues and dramas, and your team's riddled with issues, and they could list on a flipping 25 A4 bits of paper what's going wrong and what's not working. And I went back to my team and said, team, all the things you tell me don't work, are they problems or are they thoughts? Have we kind of made some of this stuff? Have we become, has your team, my team, lots of teams, our family units, have we become almost like the default is there's a problem. Default is I'm sad. The default is that this is not working. Is that real, or are they just thoughts? And it's really interesting when you just kind of break that down a little bit and just analyze it. Are they real problems or are they thoughts? And I think these things, all these little, you know, it's like the 2 millimeter shifts, you know, Charlie's talking about, you know, 10 times, 10 times, 10 times, 10 times, right? These are tiny little mindset shifts, which make a massive difference, right? I'm just checking for time. We've got a few more minutes. again, I mean, we run a very, very lean business, right? We are, and I'll share because I'm amongst family, but Sanners International is not an uber financially successful business. It's successful and we're making amazing waves in amazing things, right? But you know what? We are a very lean team. I don't have hundreds of thousands of pounds to throw on extra resources. So we're lean, we're efficient. And the thing and the problem within financial services is you guys make really good money for doing a great job for clients, right? You work hard, never take that away from you, but you make good money, which means that you can throw money at resources, at more processes. And one of the things that Tony talks about is it's not about your resources, it's about how resourceful you are with the resources that you've got. And I can tell you that as a business, we couldn't be any more resourceful if we tried. And we are lean and we are agile. So my question to you is, how resourceful are you with the resources that you have available? Very important. There's more than one way to skin a cat. Where's the fat in it? Where's the time that people are just wasting? One of the themes that we set for 2021 as a business was something called REM, return on effort made. I wanted my team to make sure that every piece of effort or energy they spent in our business, there was a return for it. Amazing mind shift in the team, and we've got exponential growth as a result of it. We've launched a financial abuse certification, we're launching a well-being certification, we're launching a consumer vulnerability standard. I mean, all this stuff is because where focus goes, energy flows. We are resourceful, and we've annihilated most of the things that we thought were problems in our business that weren't problems, they were just thoughts. And we've sacked off all of our limiting beliefs as a team. Incredible journey we've been on in the last 2 years. And it all came because I went to UPW, which is why I wanted to share with you. A few more quick things. I believe that every business needs to have some sort of breakdown before there's a breakthrough. And, think about personal circumstances, think about our relationships, think about our team relationships, think about, when you've made a massive change in your business. I remember David Braithwaite having that skiing injury, probably, without, I've not teed him up, but basically I bet a lot of the instrumental changes that happen within Citrus happen because he was taken out of the equation. Break down to have a breakthrough. Right. So, we all know that change is a matter of, there's nothing we can do about it. We know that change is a big thing in our sector, but, we don't want to wait for death, divorce, and disease to make changes in our business. I want to force that upon you so that the things that aren't working, that you're not happy with, you almost force a breakdown to have a breakthrough. And most of my eye-opening moments in my life, personally and professionally, have come following literally a situation where I said, I cannot do this like this anymore. I don't want to live like this anymore. Breakthroughs have followed. Incredibly powerful, right? So I believe that a breakthrough comes after a breakdown. This is one of my favorite quotes of the last few years. I have lots of favorite quotes, I share them on social media, and it was Jamie Kern-Lima. She was the lady that she was knocked back hundreds and hundreds of times. She had a foundation cream, a concealer and a foundation cream, and she tried to take it to market. And she was literally broke. She had no money. She was packing boxes on a kitchen dining room table, right? And she was a speaker at UPW, and when I attended it, and this quote says it all for me. Authenticity alone does not guarantee success, but however, a lack of authenticity guarantees failure. So my question to you is, are you being true to you? Are you being authentically you? I've had many conversations with many of you on this call, and I've said, stop trying to be like that person. Stop trying to copy what they're doing. Stop trying to be something you're not, because authenticity is what it's all about. We are in a very blue standard profession. We can make it very dull and very boring. But those that shine a light on who we are and do amazing things are those that live truly authentically. And, whatever you think and say about me, I am the same here as I am with you one-to-one, as I am on stage, as I am in my personal life. This is who I am. I live authentically, and it's really important. The last thing I would say, and just to share, and it's so appropriate given that Boston's on the way, and it was one of my driving forces. I'm not even speaking at the flipping meeting at the moment, but I want to be where all you are. I've missed you. You're my friends. You're my clients. So I'm flying to Boston to hang out with you, because one of the things that Tony says, and I will end after this, is proximity is power. When we are together, it's amazing to see 38 people on this call, and MDRT as a family, which is what I still call it, even though I'm not an advisor. I've never been an advisor, but I spent a lot of time with you. The MDRT family is something very, very, very special. So who is it in your life that you should be spending more time with? Because proximity is powerful, and it's really important that you spend more time with the people that bring out that absolute best in you.